Yeah. Oh yeah, by the way, we're already live. And Kevin's gone.
We're live.
Revive Kevin!
Yeah.
You guys good?
Panic.
Ruben, you good? I'm good.
Yeah, okay. Fair akong signal. Like, there's not no Trusra.
It's kind of choppy. It's fine. It's cup. This cup is enormous.
Pag-data
Wala
ka.
rin. Choppy ko. Choppy ko.
Kato, chop. Kadiyo.
Oh, hello. How about now? Hello.
Much better.
Is that okay?
Yes. Right, we're doing our testing live. Hi guys.
Hello, Kev. Kaya ka, Kev. Talk to us.
Kevin, if you are with us
Are you
right
alright?
now, please move the glass. If you are with us
Kevin,
right now.
are you here?
Are you here?
Are you close? Are you friendly?
Yung status ni Kev ni Machi ang profile picture.
Am I okay? Like, okay, ako.
Am I okay?
Scars.
I don't know.
Good question. I wanna ask that myself. Pero go ahead, Kiran. Sound-wise, you're okay. No, that's a stream. It's on.
Funny. Good.
Hi guys.
Good
Hi
guy.
chat.
Funny. Okay.
Are we live? Okay.
Watch us
Okay.
spanning
Go,
game.
Ruben.
Hello.
Ruben.
Are we live?
Yes, we're live. Let's go.
Hello,
Are
people.
we live?
Welcome to the stream.
I'm the mark.
Oh no.
Man,
No, Ruben,
Hello, man.
you're cutting out. Ruben, you're cutting out.
Oh, no. Postponed.
Okay. Hi, my name's Ruben. I'm the marketing guy.
Okay, we got a robotic Ruben, so let's just introduce ourselves as Ruben.
Fantastic. Look, hi, I'm Ruben.
Hi, I'm Ruben.
Dave, you're Ruben.
Yes, I'm Ruben too. We're the marketing officer of Capriccioso Studio, and
yeah.
today we'll be streaming.
Is that better? Hello?
Hey,
Testing,
he's back. He's back.
There,
Hi.
that's working.
Better. Is it better?
Yes.
Yes.
I can't tell. Is it
Sometimes.
significantly better?
Yes.
Okay. Better now. Okay. Start. This is okay. Everyone, good evening. My name is Ben Yap, the marketing man of Capriccioso Studios. Let's go. This is another stream, and here with me is the Capriccioso team.
Hey, we're here again. Oh, wrong.
Yay.
Woohoo! So what we'll be doing today is actually presenting updates on our 3D art portfolio and our art portfolio in general. The reason why we're doing this is actually because of the fact that, well, we just want to have an awesome art portfolio, and that's pretty much it. And this stream is to basically just showcase what we've been doing for the past couple of days in the first month of 2024. So this stream will focus on the artists who are Clint, Nika, Tristan, John, aka TJ,
TJ.
and our new 3D artist, TJ, and our new 3D artist, Kevin.
Hey.
Yay.
Hi, Kev. Hey.
Hey, Kevin. Happy New Year, guys.
So Kevin, go introduce yourself, man. Your favorite game, the reason why you got into this industry, and yeah, that's basically it.
Go,
Yeah,
Kev.
be gone.
Can you repeat that? You're cutting off at my end.
Say hi, Kevin.
Okay. So
Say hi to the
Just
world.
say
say
hi.
hi.
As Hi, I'm the newest intern at Capriccioso Studio. I started about last month ago, so hi. Okay. Hi.
Awesome.
Welcome to the club.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah, welcome to Capriccioso, Trevin. You're the newest artist. So just in context, we did have an opening. I think was it last December? Did right? Like it was last December. We were looking for we had an intern from Open Slot, and we got Kevin out of
Yes.
like I forgot how many people. Yeah,
Quite a
and
few.
then now he's with
More
us,
than 10.
and yeah, he's been with us since December actually. Diba?
Yeah.
Yeah, started December, and he actually already has some output already since last December that we'll be showcasing today. Nice.
Wow.
Oh no.
Oh,
Oh
yes.
no.
Oh, no.
Yay.
Yeah. Oh wait, Ruben, is that my cue already? Is it my turn?
It's your turn now.
It's like Pokemon. Okay, so I'll just to like so hi guys, it's me Clint. I'm the one of the art people here in the studio, and I'll be leading today's I'll be what's the word, like I'll be the conducting the today's art showcase. But for the most part, most importantly, the ones that will be showing the work, it'll be the artists, Sila Nika, Sila Tristan and Kevin. And we'll be showing all the work that we've been doing outside of our connect since I came in. And one of my tasks was to actually so when we came in this was the original setup that I had, right? We had one 2D artist, one 3D artist, and of course the portfolio that we wanted to like work on, and that the artists also need to improve. So it's like, these are sort of similar, but they're kind of linked, but they're also kind of different, because sometimes you want a good portfolio, but it might risk the artist like not getting improving also, but you also want them to improve, but you want their portfolio to be better. And we actually had to expand to two 3D artists because 3D is very time consuming compared to 2D, so that's why we had to like move that. But yeah, that's basically just more or less brief. I'll that enough about that. I'll show you guys like all the output that the finished output that we've done for the past actually it's been like 5 months, I think. Well, since like July, August, September, October, November. So yeah, it's like 7 months minus 2 months from like Arconex to like 4 months. So this is one of the finished artworks that we had from Nika. This was the first finished work. This is the first finished work that we had. And then this is also one of the finished work we have for the 3D showcase. So again, this is the first PBR asset for the 3D theme. We have never really, I don't think the team has done anything based on like when I checked the portfolio before. So this is a first for the studio also. And we also have Kevin's work, right? So Kevin's new, and this is again, they're both doing their first asset in PBR. I don't know if it's first asked for the studio to be PBR, and I guess this is also where we're still actually learning. Since these are two different artists with different like skills, different backgrounds, different style influences, how they actually turn out to be different, and now we're still like fixing like everything like it's just like an ongoing project that like okay like yeah we're picking up and stuff. And of course our character arc, which we'll be showing more again later. Yeah. So speaking of that, we have our first showcase, first slash interview slash showcase. It'll be for Nika. So hi Nika, good evening, and say hi to everyone and the stream. What's that?
Hello, everyone. I'm Nika.
Okay.
My
Sige. So
introduction.
Nick, before we start, sige, let's talk about you as an artist. Like how did you start off, man? Like yeah, just like just to give everyone like some context. How did you
Oh,
start off? Yeah.
okay. So, everyone, for your information, I've been drawing since I was 5. Uh, Back then, I only explored traditional art, but as years go on, I've been introduced into tablets, and that's when I transitioned to digital art. And I've been into it because it's more, no less, um, it's less expensive and very, how do you call that? Very convenient. So yeah, that's all.
Then, so aside from Nick, when you started out with your art nakuan, did you know that you were gonna be doing games, or did you at least lean towards games?
Oh, I think elementary to high school, I've never thought I would land into job or purpose now related to games. Not until high school, I was drawing characters and I started playing like Wild Rift, and like there are characters, so I got, oh, maybe this is a kind of job na viable in the future. So yeah, that's when I thought na maybe, and it's so enjoyable to do. So that's why mas nag-lean ko into character design na stuff. But not just that, I also like doing everything else related to the art.
Okay. Then after that, like you like characters. When you started doing game art, was it already in college na nimo? Or did you like do like
Yes,
sa college
very
or like
much
start?
so. Yes, sa
Okay.
college jud siya kay related pa sa akong course. So we make games and we make the assets ourselves also. So that sparked my entire career and blossom my skills.
So okay, so before we start the showcase, is there anything else you want to share to the stream just about like in general lang
What?
about like yeah, ikaw, it can be about like your work, maybe like you're happy with it, you're struggling with it or anything. How's it been so far? Ikaw, yeah, anything you wanna share
um
or sure.
this is more like an advice to fellow artists, or just general na lang. If there's something that you really like, just follow your heart and everything will follow. Char.
Okay.
Yeah, sige. Okay, so thank you very much for the introduction, Nick. And then now we'll start with the art showcase. So for this art showcase, we'll actually guide you guys through what the studio where we started out. So we're gonna start with environment because when I came in, we did start with environment, and just for the context, like I also am not an environment artist. So when I came in, I knew that we had to start environment because environment is the least I guess it has its own challenges, but it's also a good starter piece to like start artists on. In my personal opinion, if you don't want to start characters, sometimes it can be like it's okay, but I think environment, transitioning to 3D, it's there's less. So there's some stuff that you don't have to deal with. I guess I can explain. It's not something super technical, but yeah, we had to start with the environment, and I had to like help out and like sort of lead and Nika's everything that she had in the environment, but she also was not environment artist. So okay, let's talk about that. So this was the first artwork that I just came in. I was in 1 week in, and I think we're like, okay, we'll start. And then Nika just finished this like thing within like 3-4 days. Yeah, sige, Nick. So talk about like
Okay.
what went through. Sige.
So what happened was, so you came in and asked for an environment concept art, and I didn't really ask like what specifically, what kind. I didn't know that it has many types. Like you can do thumbnailing, grayscaling, color, and the values. So I have no idea, those, and I did do that as well in my past work. So I just search up an art station and look at search like concept art environment, and all I see is like Polish environment illustration. So I went with that, follow what they did, and that's what happened in that first submission. It's digital art.
So yeah, so Moto, that's what happened. I came in, and then 3 days, 4 days later, she submitted this. It's like, okay, well, okay, she's going really, really fast. Wait, we need to calm down, sa. And then like it was also actually quite hard to sa na ako. Kaya ako, I was new, and I didn't know like I didn't know sad like how to start off sad, right? So when you had something very, very close to like near finished, like not near finished, but at least painted already. I'm like, okay, we need to like slow down. So we did like you did have your drawing monotino, and then can like transition to that. Then I actually said that like, oh, let's like move back, let's start with the thumbnails. And then okay, this was the first time you were doing thumbnails, and how did you feel when you were doing it? Kamusta man nani? Like, how was this?
Uh, Doing that is feels like not so me, because in the first place I don't do thumbnails ever since. So my technique at doing so is just search thumbnails and kind of imitate how they do it. So just kind of went with that. So the composition is not good, and the rest of the thumbnails is more of like an improvement after I do one. So if I look at my first thumbnail and I feel like this is too occupied, the next thumbnail will be less occupied, and the third one is like I just add something different from the stuff I do before that. So that's what happened in my progress doing thumbnailing.
So in context, guys, is the one to everyone on the stream. So I guess this is the first, not really lesson, but I guess the first thing that I want to share lang with you guys. So when I came in and Nika's kind of like had finished something. So for the most part, right, as like normal as people, when we look at like art in general, we should just see things as a whole, right? And I think when Nika submitted this, she's like, okay, just like do the drawing, you paint there, and I was like, okay, let's do thumbnails first. And the thing about thumbnails is, you usually read your values from start to like going in. So like if you see the little thumbnail images from small, and you see, oh, okay, that image looks good, it will usually transition very well to like the actual final illustration. So if from here you see like, oh, okay, that's kind of like working. When you go to the final illustration, then it will actually read a bit better. So I guess that's the kind of like logic behind it. And usually a thumbnail, Nick, how long did you take to each thumbnail, Anne?
I think 5 to 10 minutes, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. So something like this would take 5 to 10 minutes, and something like this would take
5 hours.
yeah, 5 hours. Yeah. So I think that's the logic of it. So basically, you're saving time. You're trying like pre-planning the whole image before you start, and then of course when you're showing it to clients or when you're showing it to like your art director, at least you have a bunch of options that they that they can view, and then hey, they like thumbnail number 6, thumbnail number 3, and then they go with that. But in this case, I just like, okay, Nika, what's your favorite thumbnail, and then we'll go with that. And then you actually pick thumbnail number 6. Somewhat. Wait, let me check if like the other thumbnails are. Yeah, here. You actually picked thumbnail number 6. So how was this when you picked this thumbnail number 6? This is like sort of like moving forward thumbnail number 6.
Yeah, because it's the most and I think it's the most okay thumbnail, because the more I do thumbnails, the more I think I improve. So yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah. So you picked this, and then eventually we had some feedback on it about the Yahang symmetry, mostly about the symmetry, which was
Symmetry.
okay. There's nothing on, and then we kind of like you kind of like wanted to adjust it, and you actually went over with this one, just like near the close final thumbnail. We had like this talking about the rule of thirds, so you kind of have the rule of thirds guideline here. So Kani, how was this? How did you feel about this one?
Um, so before point of view is face front, diba? So I changed it to like 3/4 view just for uh, challenge purposes to challenge myself. And yeah, I think I felt good when I draw that. I think like I can be an environment artist kind of feeling. Yeah.
Mm. So yeah, we transitioned to this, and then I did provide some feedback with cleanup on like the lines, because I think that a lot of the feedback here was about like lines and like for example this one was like kind of like it was about lines, just a lot of like lines, a lot of it like is usually just reading things. Yeah, so usually when I like the most like even with both the 2D and the 3D, when I usually provide feedback for both Nika, Tris, and Kevin, a lot of it is lines, values, like very very basic stuff. And then this was near the finish, diba? And then we can like colored this one. And then is there anything you want to talk about, like when I was giving you feedback? How was it like? I know it was like it's probably within you. How was it like? Was it stressful? Like it's okay, you can share. Was it like, oh my god, what is he talking about? Like
Okay, if that's really hard. Um, wala naman. Actually, I felt challenged even if I'm not an environment artist. I feel like this task is like very challenging to do, and I'm aiming to be versatile in the coming years, so I could work in a big companies in gaming, companies. So yeah, and every time you critique they when you said something about this, about that, it feels so it's fine because the way you um critique, give feedback, it it always makes sense. So whatever you say, you just I follow it to you. It's best to follow. Yeah.
So, sa ako ang side sad, when I do give feedback, as much as possible, I try not to attack I try to make it as technical as possible, and I need to find an explanation to justify why I'm giving that feedback. And I don't know, but like in many many years that I've worked with like lots of different artists, sometimes when I know that not everyone is like used to getting feedback, or rather like it will take a while for, especially if you're still new. Like it's very common for someone to feel like siguro not the word's not offended. Siguro it feels like, oh, like why is my personal work, and again even to me, but siguro naanad na ko, like I guess I would feel that way before, like when someone just says something about like my work, because it's art, it's very personal. It can be easy to like kanang but I don't know what's the exact word, but I don't know. Did you feel that way, Vanik, when I was giving feedback? Were there times that you felt that way, like that, like it didn't feel good?
What?
Were there times now when there were feedback? Yeah, it was like, was it okay, ra? Like it wasn't anything. It didn't feel
It was
too
very helpful because you see things
okay.
that I don't see. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, I think it depends. But yeah, so it depends. But siguro just for the artist, like in general, taking feedback, especially when you're working with yeah. So I give lots of feedback, and then we kind of like a color value blocking, which we use the thumbnails as reference for, right? Because we knew it was working before, so we use the thumbnails to reapply it here into the drawing. And yeah, and then we had a color blocking, and
It
then to the
looks
final
right.
decision. So yeah, Nick, is there anything you want to say from like transitioning from here all the way to your sort of like final? Yeah, this is the final one.
What I can say is it's very feels an honor to you. It's fun of time, even if environment is my list to do kind of art. And I want to say to all the viewers, the best of us, listen to the feedbacks. Don't take it like it's offensive. It may be helpful to you, so be an open ear and apply to what do you think is better to do with your artwork, especially aiming to improve your stuff. That's all.
Yeah. So yeah, this is the finished artwork, and then after that we actually object pieces, which are so essentially from here, the photo here. I tell Nika, okay, so Nick, the 3D artist, they're gonna take this artwork and they're gonna model parts of the artwork that's being used in here, right? So kani. So I need you to create a set of objects that the 3D artists can reference, and you can like move forward to there. Realize that, like, yeah. So this was the Tory Gate. Do you have anything you wanna share about these, or okay na?
The only thing that I'd like to like highlight of all that object drawing is that most of the time I forgot that those objects are need to be like, you need to think that they're objects that will make sense in real life. So when you critique, like, it needs to be like compared to the size of human, that it has to be like livable, and like the lamppost should be what is it, like, is it tall the person or is it not? So those kind of feedback makes me uh, imagine more of how should I draw the objects that it will make sense to the 3D modelers.
So okay, so I'll give you context set on my end, why I usually would give those sets. So normally, right, if you ask me, I'm actually a stylized artist, and normally when you're stylized, you actually tend to break the rules more often than follow them. So the reason why I will always say, and again, I learned this from just eventually just keeping like just being doing it. I follow the rules. You have to know I follow the rule, right? The specific rule I follow is know the rules before you break them. So most of the times when stylized artists, when they want to stylize, they're breaking rules, right? So they're exaggerating proportions. They're not following proper scale, because the point of stylizing is to kind of like emphasize or exaggerate specific parts of the artwork. So that's what stylizing is, to make it more visually appealing. But you're also breaking rules when you're there. But siguro, I would say from like doing it a lot and starting out as a stylized artist, I had to learn becoming more like okay, like I have to be flexible, and to be flexible you have to know the logic or the rules behind it first. And then when you start breaking things, like, okay, I want to make the roof like really exaggerated, or I want to make the proportions of the character really different, at least you know what you're pushing and breaking, rather than if it's the opposite. Okay, sige kag stylize, you're breaking a lot of rules, but on your logic behind your mind, you don't know what rules you're breaking, or you're not aware what rules you're breaking. So actually, I know that siguro if I would like let Nika or the team do a project without like complete my guidance, and if they do pick a stylized project, they will pick something more gearing towards like the visual side of it, and they'll probably ignore the realism side of it. But I guess that's why it's good to know these rules, these ground rules, so that in the future when you have a project that demands you to break these rules, right? Like let's say we're working something like I don't know, like off top of my head, like Clash of Clans, where it's very, very chunky. At least okay, I have to stylize it because the camera's further. So yeah, so that's the context why I'm actually guiding or directing the objects to be more on, not completely realistic, but at least a bit more grounded to realism. So just giving you guys that para medyo maka can like lay it out. Yeah, so that everything for the environment showcase. And then last we have the character concept art. So Okay, so Nick, I know that you were a character concept art, and now this is like us transitioning from environment to character concept. How was that for you? So you started out with this. This was done in December.
That character is actually personal art, and I thought na, oh, maybe I could use this for portfolio sa studio. So that's why I went with that first. But when you said that we need to make story that the character Phoenix Girl should be like correlated with their environment, and there's like that's like hard to pull off because she looks different from the environment. So yeah, I decided to change the character design.
So ang context that Ato was, so we knew we were gonna do character, and then so Nika just sent like this Phoenix Girl character, and I was like, okay, so the thing is, if we have the environment from this type of artwork, which was the previous one, and then you have your character, they're like okay, are these two different projects or just these random like art pieces? So I was like, let's find a way to like integrate both of them lang so that it can like it's like an entire IP as a whole. So you can like revamp your Phoenix Girl idea, and this was just like from January, like you just like showed up with like all these new character designs, like the Spirit Lotus one. So yeah, you can talk about that. How was it like? Now we're doing character concept art, and you're actually doing the thumbnails and all the process. How was it? How's your experience with it?
It feels fine. I don't find it stressful compared to the environment because I've been doing characters for years. The real struggle of this is um the symmetry. I was very like, how should I make it less symmetrical but not too much messy kind of design? So I went with like chaos in my brain. How should I design the character? But um, what I did is like search Pinterest art section for how they did, what are their processes in making characters. So that helped me to do this. So yeah, and the photo inspired with the environment itself. So I imagined her being a guardian of the Torii Gate, guarding some bad spirits that will pass the Torii Gate.
So this was your initial designs, and then this was after our feedback session. Yeah, this was after our feedback session, and then yeah, well, we had some feedbacks, we had some adjustments. I think there's the design was somewhere is the fourth one, I think, and then
Yeah.
we can like just move some stuff over. So this is the final one, which the 3D artists will be doing, and these are the references on what the materials will be, just so that the 3D artists. So anything you'd like to say about your final design? Yeah.
I-
Kasi na guys.
Well, Nick, I think naputol ka, or is it just me?
I think.
Can you guys hear
it's,
Nika?
Hello, hello.
Naputol ko.
Kind of, but
Or
I
no.
yeah, now it's much
Back,
Kind
get
of.
back.
better now.
Okay, next.
Yeah. So yeah, next. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, just the final design, and yeah, that's all for the 2D showcase. That's for the 2D showcase. That's Nika's artwork. Thank you very much, Nika, for your art. And then just to if you for everyone's context, when we started, like, it was very like, we're still like learning, and it did take some time, said. And actually, on Nika's end, said, when she did the character already, it was actually very straightforward. I think there wasn't a lot of, well, there's also the language when when you start out, like, there are specific words that, like, oh, this is what I mean by this. And when we did this, it was very smooth. Okay, we just need to adjust this. I think this will like look better. I'll leave it up to you. Just, and yeah, medyo straightforward na din siya. And now we're actually moving on to the second character, which we will showcase then later on. But before we go there, let's move forward to our 3D showcase by Tristan and um,
Let's
Hi.
go.
oh yeah,
Let's
thank you,
go.
Nika again.
TJ
And
and
say hi to
Kevin.
Tristan Kevin.
Welcome.
Hello, Tristan. Hey
Let's
guys.
go.
Hello, guys.
Let's go.
Okay, so Tris.
Sorry.
Sige, let's start. Sige, Tris. We'll start with you. Yeah, we'll go back to Kevin later. Because this is gonna be a Tristan choice. Tristan has also started. He started same. I started with Tristan same time. I started with Nika. So sa yang showcase karon at least he'll be showcasing two artworks. Yeah. Okay, so but yeah, we'll start. Tristan, go. Introduce yourself to everyone. Say hi to the world.
Hi, my name is Tristan, sometimes TJ. I am an intern currently doing 3D art for the studio's portfolio and also one of Clint's disciples. Thank you.
Yes, okay. Then ikaw Tris, sa imuhang on your side, when did you start doing art or actually I'm not sure good because I know you're like a programmer. Are you like also
Yeah.
an artist or like hybrid good like what's your position like in a sense?
Actually, libog sa ko. Pero I started when I came into Capriccioso, I started doing programming stuff. And in class, I also was in programming mostly. Then I just started 3D during, I think, second sem of the first year. Sa pag-college na ako, doing 3D stuff.
And
Yeah.
then when you started doing 3D, do you feel like it was something you enjoyed / wanted to do more often or still
I actually opened up this one certain katong nangaunta sa somewhere. Then how I did before 3D, I think voxel is considered 3D man sad, pero I started doing voxels like volumetric pixels or siya pixel siya pero 3D. I started doing those as a hobby. So that one I enjoyed the most. I think out of my free will ra ba nag-practice ko og katong style. But then came sa mga subjects in 3D which is I needed to explore, so ato siya mostly I did for kuan lang good submissions. I would say nga I enjoy it a little bit but not that much as I did from katong sa voxels. Yeah.
Okay, so mas nalingaw ka sa voxel na 3D kaysa sa other subjects na 3D?
Yeah, katong nag-start ng Blender and stuff. Like kuan siya, nag-start siya nga dili na siya enjoyable when I started doing for the sake of kanang passing lang and not creating. So that's why makaingon ko I enjoyed the voxel most, pero yeah.
How do you feel? How do you feel about the stuff that we have for the portfolio? Is it okay na ba for Nemo or is this are we in the wrong department?
It's very different from kuan ang katong sa class kay kato for the sake of passing, pero now I actually kanang excited go for kanang improvement gani, unlike pagkatong class nga wala koy direction like submit lang kay submit, but karon is I actually want to improve kay kita ko kanang mga interesting and damot kanang amazing portfolio and wala kana sad nga direction o kana ni take moto nabalik na kong love for 3D char.
So sakto ba just para nimo this whole 3D thing, right? Because diba you started out programmer just sa Capriccioso, so now you're kind of like transitioning to like pa 3D na. Is this like something that you're kind of just like you're learning it lang while you're in Capriccioso, correct?
Yes, yes. Also, mounted akong ganan like a full-time yun as a job
Yeah. So yeah.
rather than programming.
Yeah. So Mona, that's Tristan's story, right? So started Voxel, got hired as a programmer. Started doing 3D, and now it's like doing a lot of 3D stuff. Yeah. And then, is there anything you want to share just to everyone on stream before we move forward to your short showcase, to your portfolio showcase?
I think wala nun siguro. Next. Go.
Okay.
Let's go.
Sige. Okay. So yeah, so we're gonna showcase. We actually have the main asset here. We do have same as the same as Nika's format. We're gonna start with how we started out. But this is the final asset that we have, first asset, and so here's also another thing, and I'll share this lang. And this is also just, I guess this is an opinion. And feel free, people are free to disagree with them or not. I think siguro from what I sometimes observe in like, I don't want to say like, let's just say it, like in schools, I guess it depends on like, I guess it depends, but it's just something that I've sometimes, right, like when schools have expectations to like create, oh, like let's make like an asset, like a and this is like in general, right, this isn't specific to any school. It's very like, if it's a not very experienced, like, when they will be like, oh, we want you to make like an environment set, you know like they want you to make so many things, a very very big set, like an entire level or something like that. And I think if you want to focus more on the art thing, right, and you want to be like, let's say example, like there, like this, it couches like how many days, weeks, hours did you think you spent over nane? Pila na ka weeks like you've been working on this?
Anong latest project kaning lamppost.
Kaning lamppost.
I think kung i-accumulate tanan hours, mga
Weeks.
Oh,
Pila ka weeks or hours?
weeks, I think since the katong January man siguro. Oh yeah, the first week of January ko nag-start. So I think mga 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Right. So yeah, 2 to 3 weeks.
Yes.
So 2 to 3 weeks is like, it's a long time, right? Like I said, it's a pretty long time, and I think what I usually see when good, like especially with like courses that have the bigger schools that have smaller courses and they have like a 3D course or something that has a 3D, they should will expect like an entire thing, and I guess it's okay. But when you have like artists who are still kind of like learning, I think it's always better to start small, right? Because how I always, okay, so in context said, right, I'm going back to this said to like when I was explaining before when we started out the portfolio. Because again, with Nika, if Tristan can make a small object like this in this quality, right, it's very easy to say, oh, let's let Tristan make a gate or something bigger. It's easier to say, okay, at least we hit a good quality benchmark already with a small asset. Um, I don't, I'm not supportive of the idea to have like really, really big projects with so much stuff in it, but the assets that are made are, basically it's like quality over quantity. Because I think assets like these are the ones that would get you hired. If there's someone that views your portfolio, if someone sees something polished and good, that's more likely to catch their attention than something that's kind of like unfinished and like the gangi ay hala para mahuman lang. So yeah, that's just my take on it. And yeah, I mean that's like just it's just an opinion on the whole thing. So siguro it's quality over like quantity. So yeah, can I just let's talk about your, well, no, actually no, this is just a showcase. We actually want to start here. This is the first asset that you made when itong this was last July or August. And then we had the blockings for sa Torgate. Yeah. So let's talk about this one. First hand painted asset. Kumusta man eh. So I just came in and you actually modeled this from like kumusta man siya? How was this?
sa general workflow sa kanang asset.
Yeah. Not so
Mm.
technical. How did you feel like katong pag-start na to and like like yeah.
At first it was somewhat very overwhelming since it was a hand painted asset, and then I have no 2D skill whatsoever, like digital painting. And then another problem is like making organic objects, like kaning makita ninyo nga tree or roots.
Branches.
Lisod kayo siya. Oh. And then kaning the right side picture, mauna siya ang makita ninyo is the left side sa kanang hand painted in the kanang purple part is me doing or achieving like a wooden roof somewhat, and I did that like for 5 hours, and mara na siya akong nabuhat. And then Sir Clint gives a tip or techniques to improve efficiency, and then this one I just the right side I did that like lang 20 minutes. So yeah, mostly akong difficulties in doing this asset is first from I think the software, like ang learning curve sa software, since bago ra ko ni sudan ang software which is 3D Coat, and then another is the hand painted stuff since lisod ko like sa hand painted is different siya sa workflow sa katong gibuhat na ang latest gani Sir Clint. Just the lamppost. Yeah, very very different workflow since this one you actually need to have a somewhat knowledge about tong values, and then the 2D technical stuff like ang shadows dili nimo need mo siya i-manual, unlike sa sculpting which is pwede siya i-bake and then naray AO and stuff. So dili siya matikas ang hand paint, that's why mo ta akong ilisuran jud.
So let's like, just for the sige. I was like, let me show the fonts for the people na lang, because maybe they're like not super sure. So these are two different assets. Sorry. This lamppost and kani is different. So I'll just talk about this dali lang. So textures here, right? This is like quote unquote PVR. But like essentially how I understand is kanang ang lighting and everything is based off like so there's like a light in the engine, and then like the shadows and everything, it's all generated by the engine. And when you have something hand painted, is wala paint yun ni siya. Like the highlights that you see, the shadows that you see, that's something that just had to paint. And correct me, just diba, wala gid kay 2D experience kayo, sakto ba?
No, nag-start ra ko og 2D tungod sa course, and then moto more siya akong experience.
Yeah. So
unlike Nika.
Yeah. So Tristan doesn't have any 2D experience, not a lot at least. And having to paint this, I can feel like I don't know. Was it a struggle ba to para niyo mag-adjust sa painting?
Kayo. Struggle jud kayo.
Yeah.
I needed to kanang make sure nga kanang when you look at the asset far away kay makuha siya nga kani siya nga texture kay wood. This one root siya, this one kanang mushroom, and then lisod siya i-achieve.
Well, ga-paint ka ni Chess, unsa man ang usually like unsa man ang like ma-feel mo okay sayop siya, unsa man ang part diri na kanang kadaghan nimo like girido like ibalik or ba
kana siya na madugay ko ana kay murag katong before kani advice Sir Clint nga like do stuff from kanang afar, like dili medyo zoom in mag-work. Kay usually when I work or texture katong pag hand paint nako kay zoom in kayo ko, and then I am so focused in very little details. That's why I take up so much time, and then in-zoom out nako kay dako pa day kayo ang like need i-cover mo na siya.
So siguro I'll just sort of share this in case there's any artists like on stream or an artist. So I'll explain this, and this is universal, this semi-universal. This doesn't just apply to painting, but also to sculpting, even just drawing. So kada ang gusto rin just done about. Sometimes usually like siguro when people are starting out, there's always like this misconception or at least mental pressure, like that detail is everything, right? The more detailed something is, it's like it's gonna look good, right? Like it has to look like this and there's this tendency that like sometimes someone might over like you spend so much time in here and you don't look at it as a whole. Sometimes when you do that and when you look at the whole thing, like, oh shit, it doesn't do right. So when you're starting out as an artist, like as a 2D artist, and when you draw a face, you'll usually like start from the eye, and then you start drawing the nose and then the other eye and like the head, and when you look at the whole thing, it kind of like, oh, the other eye is like not same as the other eye. So it's the same logic as that. It's always wiser to start from the whole and then slowly polish it into the parts that you have to. So in this case, right, I told Tristan make it like a hierarchy, right? So if this is your asset, this is your main asset, right? This is your main focal point. You'll always want to put as much energy as you can around this area, because you want people to look at this area if you can. Ang may tabang good ana if you do that is sometimes like, okay, imong sculpt ang kuan dire niya. Let's say mo sculpt sa ka dire. What's gonna happen is there'll be a lot of detail here, a lot of detail here, and then depending on your deadline, you might not have enough time to balance it out with everything, and then everything gone. So I guess mo na ang logic is it's like all about hierarchy. And actually it's the same thing with sculpting. I didn't advise this with you guys with the sculpting, but it more or less works the same way. So if you feel like you're overspending time sets a sculpt, and this is for future reference, always look the thing as a whole rather than the thing as like you look at the whole thing and you find where you want to put your details, where you want your focal point to be, and then I guess you try to put as much detail / noise in that area, and you try to avoid putting detail or noise on other areas. Again, it's a bit more forgiving for sculpting, but in hand painted, definitely it is a logic that applies. But yeah, ato. Yeah, so mo to Tris, like hand paint ka dire, and then next you did this PBR thing. How was the transition? Kumusta man siya?
Actually, dili kay siya lisod for me since when katong sa previous projects nako sa school is I did like procedural mostly all of my assets are like procedurally textured. So sa Blender magud kay natoy murag asset library na drag and drop lang sa textures. And then for this one, I think it's kind of similar pero you have more kanang control or nakay kuan to adjust what kind of texture you want and ana. So actually mas prefer ko ani nga workflow rather than sa hand paint.
Right.
Yeah.
So hand painting is very niche. Not everyone's not so. Just in context, that not all 3D artists actually hand paint. Like hand painting 3D artist is very very specific. That like, oh, I'm a 2D hand painted 2D artist. But in general, PBR though it's a bit more generous. Most 3D artists, I think they generally know how to use like, or at least it's like a common thing to use Substance Painter. 3D Coat is more niche, but I also can't say that Substance Painter is better than 3D Coat because I don't know. For me, I think their brushes are very different and they both serve very different purposes. Like, yeah. So I think it's it's like one different. It's like an apple and an orange. You can't like go on. I'm just putting it out there. Yeah. So this is siguro like the final yeah. So anything you want to say about sa imong kwan sculpting, and then all the way to like your final output? Is there anything you want to fun? And of course, all your 2D stuff, just like recapping everything. Go, Tris.
Like final
Thoughts.
Final
Nemo,
words.
how would you feel? Oh, final words, Nemo.
Final
Final word.
Final words.
Wala ron siguro. I think I think katong ingon ni Nika, trust the process. Also, it's important na kuan siguro, but you enjoy the process itself.
Yeah.
And then, maoro mo siguro ang maoro mo siguro ang yeah.
Sige. Thank you, Tris. And then, what else? Hopefully you guys enjoyed. So yeah. So next we have Kevin's showcase. But before we start, I do want to give you guys a bit of like not like a background lang. So when we started this out, Nika did finish like all the environment. She finished the tour gate. She finished the concept art for all the environment pieces, and I was like, I did open up to the team that like, hey, I think there's gonna be more 2D artists, 2D output than there's gonna be a lot more like 2D output than there will be 3D output. And that's normal. Like 3D assets take a long time. Like when I was working on projects before, like an entire character, we would have like 2 months even to like do it from scratch. Sometimes 3, sometimes 4. It's pretty long, and then of course there are some characters depending on the project. Some are slower, but they definitely take a lot more time. And usually environment assets, they're cut into small pieces, right? So you'd have assets that take 3 days, 5 days, 10 days, so on, so on, so on. These are things that I just kind of like picked up like pretty recently, to be honest. And that's where we actually decided that like, hey, people in the team, would it be alright if we take another 3D artist just so we can paste up and have we can have like everything that Nika at least will make, or at least most of it. We have 3 versions of it so that our portfolio will be more complete. Because again, kind of this took 3 weeks, as Tristan just mentioned, and I think this one this took 1.5 months. Sakto ba?
Yes, 1.5 month.
Yeah, this was 1.5 month. Of redoing the roots and hand painting and so on, everything balik. So right, so they really take a lot more time. And Kat said, but now we're like, we're kind of like we're like finishing. These are done actually. These are done, and we're moving forward to our next. So yeah, speaking of next, we'll have Kevin's showcase, which is just more or less the same asset as kay Koan, but sige, Kev.
Hello. Mabati ako.
Yes.
Oh my god, I was so nervous. Like, where was that Skyrim music coming from? I thought like my game was on. So,
It's Kevin
okay.
about
Sige, so Kev, say hi to everyone. Hi to everyone.
Hello, I'm Kevin. So I'm the newest intern at Capriccioso. So nice to meet you. So I just started intern at last month. So Maura.
Then, sige Kev, so imuhang background is actually a bit different from Tristan. So talk about that, like so Tristan was opening up na he started out like he was more like he was like a programmer to turn to like voxel artist. How is yours different? Like, yeah.
Unlike Christian, I more ko opposite niya kay unlike him, I'm more into 2D, so I have no knowledge about the technical stuff of any software or any programming. So yeah. So I'm more into creating stuff rather than thinking. So that is it. So first, I mostly just draw through 2D. So primarily, I'm a 2D guy. So mostly I just draw characters and other stuff.
Okay. So now Karon, you're doing an environment for 3D piece. It's just a piece. It's not like an entire environment piece. It's just a piece. How is it so far? Like, what's the stuff like? Is it easy? Is it hard? What's the general? How do you feel in general? Kumusta ba rin mong 1 month?
So yeah, man. So at the start, kay mag-learn pa ako ng mga new software. So like ZBrush, Substance. So very new na kaya para ako. So it took me like about 3 weeks para mag-get used sa mga programs ipang gamitin niyo. So real struggle ka ito.
Yeah. So guys, in context, like I said, every time we have meetings on Tuesdays and Fridays, I'm just sharing this to you guys. In case there's really something, well, I know you guys, for most parts, the software, I'm surprised that there's not like a lot of like questions yet, but whenever there is, like ask those on the Tuesdays and Fridays we meet, because, yeah. But for the most part, I'm actually surprised that like you guys went through all the assets, so like just it's just one asset. I'm sure there's like a lot of work and figuring out lang yun, on the back end sa inyong end. Yeah. Yeah, so kana and then so you start out 2D, not much technical. You did have 3D sa imong portfolio. Which is why we
Yes.
then like how was the 3D you did for the one, was that for schoolwork?
Yes.
Yeah. So
So,
how was it compared to like doing your 3D assets here?
so mostly of the 3D I made for the school, so I just mostly did it at Blender. So I didn't do it. I didn't put it on ZBrush, so I didn't put sculpting in it. So mostly not really putting texturing in Substance. Mostly I just do it in Blender since it's easy. Yeah, and it's easy to use. So yeah.
Yeah. So kinda and then so would you say like this one's a bit harder? Like ang atong gibuhat, like for you, was it like harder? Like I know it's
Uh,
technically a
at
bit harder,
first.
right?
At first.
Yeah.
Yes.
The baking, the unwrapping, yeah, medyo it's
Yes. Mm. It was very
I
new
also
for me at first.
sa context ng sa Kev, I also started out 2D and I'm very very weak technical. Like technical's my weakest. It's like as in
Same.
as in I really don't like, but once you get to it and you can like understand how it works, I think medyo you'll start it's so yeah. Okay, so let's start with the showcase. Oh wait, no. Before we start, is there anything you want to share with everyone, like on the stream, lang sa just kind of like before we start the showcase, like I don't know anything about like sa work ni when you're. How was your past 1 month here? Like is it okay to ba?
It's okay naman kayo. Like, dagan kayo ko na-learn. Like, especially sa Substance, dako kayo na step para ko sa in 3D. So, para ko kang right choice gayo na nag-intern ko are sa Capriccioso.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
Hey,
Yeah.
that's a figure
Yay.
that.
Happy birthday.
Ay,
So let's start.
Gotta get downhill over
Okay,
here.
so before we start that with the showcase, I do want to explain. This is Tristan and Kevin's first 3D asset working together, right? And I did mention it earlier, but there is like we're kind of like figuring things out still. So as you guys can see, right, Kevin has a very different background from Tristan because Kevin's background is mostly from 2D. And I also do notice it while they were texturing, because they're prioritizing different things to a certain extent. Like, mafeel na ko na Kevin's I guess how he was perceiving Nika's asset. It was more he was trying to, what's the word, like think more in terms of how a 2D artist would do it, right? So yeah, like and then as you guys can see, it's a bit more stylized. Actually, it's a lot more stylized. As in, it's more there's a lot of things that are reading and geared more towards the stylization. So for example, right, like originally, like this is super subtle, but the stone is meant to be like a gray, right? But this is like a bit more of like a very cool gray. And there's a lot of like different things that like okay, like the colors that's a bit different. So and you guys can see if I go back to Tristan's asset. So again, they're the same asset, same given concept art, and interpretations like different from the two. And there are some stuff then that I'll probably go over this again later next week when we meet, but I'll go over them. Yeah. So anyways, sige, Kev, we do have some whips here. You can talk about it like one. You started out with the ZBrush. yeah, I don't like. I know the struggle when you're starting out with ZBrush because the UI and the shortcuts and everything are weird. How was it
Ah.
for you?
So, mostly akong struggle jud sa ZRush kay is the UI. Kay most features kay nakatago so nagbago pangita like Google, YouTube. So like every feature, every brush kang ako siya i-search sa online. Nakadugay lang ako.
Yeah. So that's how ZBrush works. But you know when you've sculpted it, because right now the only sculpting programs I know is naman sa ang Blender. But like you know from here, right? Like it's just gonna be like medyo you know you kind of know the workflow ish. So at least as a ZBrush side. How was it when you started sculpting? Because you know you started sculpting the wood, the stone, everything. How was that?
Um, it was okay. Yung surprisingly.
Okay. Then like so you did the you know so you were using Tristan's cunning model no the base, 'di ba?
Ah,
Ikaw sculpt. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so Tristan did the base and then Kevin just started sculpting on it and then okay, so since you're not a very technical person, how did ikaw ba ga-unwrap ani dili? Si Tristan ano?
ako man nag-unwrap kay since na naman ko yung background sa Blender.
Okay, so imo siyang gi-unwrap and then you also baked it. How was the process from like all the way to baking? Was it okay lang? Like how was that?
At first kay na yung mga few problems when it comes to baking sa substance. Mostly kay when you export ZBrush file to substance kay mostly ang result na kay like mo scale down ang objects or ang 3D. So before ako siya i-export sa substance, like ako siya i-export sa Blender para ako siya i-adjust ang scale para ma-match siya sa low poly model. Then both the low and the high poly model ang siya export sa substance.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, yeah. So just in context, said I don't know if there's like 3D artists around, but I don't know why, but I'm also aware of this. But ZBrush is weird because when you import something in and you export something out, sometimes the scale changes, and I don't like. It's something that I even until now I'm like I always have to double check all the time with Sakong side because I just don't understand. Like that's why ZBrush is like good for sculpting, but to use it as like like scaling things, arranging things, it's not meant for that. It's really meant for sculpting and mostly organic. But there's people that do hard surface on ZBrush. Yeah, and so you did the baking. How's the texturing? Since you have 2D background, kumusta man imong pag-texture ani? And first, like kind of like understanding how Substance Painter works. Was this your first time with Substance ba?
Yes, first time.
Okay.
So
kumusta ang Substance?
like it took me like 2 or 3 weeks para get used sa basics controls sa substance. So a bit of a struggle, but I managed.
So I guess this is also like a thing that I want to share with you guys. So we know that Kevin has more of a 2D background, and I always repeat this when we have like I not repeat it. I guess something I kind of like emphasize on a lot. When you're a 3D artist, there's a tendency man good to pressure. You're not pressure. I guess the general it's like, oh, I want to be a 3D artist. Oh, I need to learn all these like different softwares, and the general consensus is like, oh, I have to like learn the best of the best softwares. I need to like learn Unreal and all that like heavy shit and stuff like that. At the end of the day, I think it all goes back to, like fundamentals. Like if you have an asset and the values are reading properly, the dark and light is reading properly, like with part has good detail. I think your asset will look good. At least for me, like it's not that I'm against technical. It's just that I want to promote being more of like having your fundamentals set. And yeah, so I think like these are really good assets for like you're 3 weeks in Substance. And this is the final output overall. And feel like this is also 3 weeks, 3-4 weeks Did you work on this? I do want to ask out of curiosity because I know we didn't have work on December. Did you guys work on it like anytime between 21 to like 30? I'm curious.
Sa lamppost.
Lamppost.
Aside from blackout katong gido na to before Arcon pa jud kay wala ikang progress since then. Nakabalik na ako pag January first week.
Okay. First week January. Okay, so yeah. Overall, that's the stuff. Again, congrats and thank you, Kevin, for your first asset, for completion of your asset. And I hope if anything, like you're happy with your output. So I guess on our side, since we're here, in front of everyone, the challenge will be coordinating two different artists to work under the same style, which is something we're gonna have to figure it out. Hence why I was like, okay, we have to communicate a bit more because yes, again, they're the same asset, but they are presented very differently and they look very differently. They look like for two different games, and it's not about like one's better than the other or anything. It's that they're just different, right? They're two different assets. So yeah, moving forward, ikaw, Kev, is there anything you want to say before we move forward, or are you okay now?
I'm good.
Okay, sige. Yeah. So again, thank you, Kevin, and now we are gonna finish up with our upcoming stuff. So this will sort of be the final output for like the 3D environment, but we don't intend to like do these whole things. It's not a priority, at least. So this is also just like in context with the team. It is important we have all the assets out, this, and the lamppost. But everything else, I'd say it's not a priority yet. Because I think like having assets like these is already like, if you want to push for these, it will take a lot of time. There's a lot of trees, there's a lot of rocks, but it's not impossible. But I think we can discuss that next week Tuesday. We really want to composite this because we want to composite this as a whole. Kind of have to commit to it. Lighting is not easy. So yeah. So Tor Gate, which will be done mostly by Tristan. We're not sure yet. And we're gonna decide and see how it will progress through in the next 1 month. And then, and we can expect, that finished 3D asset before the Tori Gate. And Kevin will be doing the building, the guardhouse, which it's a bit simpler, but I feel like there will be some things that are difficult that we just are not seeing yet. And that's normal to be like, looks easy, but when you get there, like, oh shit, like this is actually a lot harder. Yeah. And then more funner, more importantly, for the characters, which will be like one of the main highlights. This will be done by Kevin. We'll have around 1.5 weeks to do it. I really feel like it's going to be difficult. It's crunched by time and also crunched by quality. Because we put like by making these assets within 2 to 3 weeks, we cannot put like a benchmark. This is the standard that we're setting ourselves on. So we cannot have a character that doesn't match that quality. So that will be fun. This will be done by Kevin, and he had Nika prepare all the specifics for the concept art. Yeah, and I'm excited to see these. And of course we do have a second character also coming up that Tristan will be doing. So this is the male character that Nika's actually still concepting right now. But I think I will have the turntable. Next week will be our week to do the turntable. So we get the front view, side view, back view for the one. So yeah, it's all very exciting. And again, thank you very much for dropping by on the stream. And see you guys next time. Okay? So expect us to have more cool shit. Okay. How's it then? Like, how do you have like questions? Again, if you guys have questions or anything, I guess we can say for like maybe the next 13 minutes and 9:30. You can stop the stream at 9:30. Then, is there anything that you feel?
There are questions here. So general chat.
Okay.
Okay, so the first one I read is, God, how do you transition from doing traditional art like sketches, painting, etc., to doing digital art as a game dev?
Not very different because you're just switching gadgets stuff to use. Traditional interior, like you use tablets. So yeah,
Like, there's
Convenience for me.
game just natural.
But it's like a convenience, I think, that the digital, diba? Like you don't have to like the erasing, copy paste.
True.
The feel of it all, it's different or the same, Ryan?
So feel kay wala na jud kayo like smooth transition ra jud siya.
If you have a crazy idea, you can do it on pencil or on the PC. I think that's the most. I don't know, for me, I think that's the fun. If you have like something in your mind that you just want to like put it there. It's like the medium's just like whatever. But I think the mind part of it, the mental part of it, I think it's like okay.
Yeah, connected to this question, what's the difference between usual art and game art? Like I've noticed that game studios are hire game artists, not like artists. How big is that difference, and how transferable are those skills?
Okay, I'll answer this, but if anyone wants to like answer afterwards and like add to it, fine. So when you're doing traditional 2D art, or you're like an artist, you're working alone, right? You make your art, you do your art, you're alone. You give it to you give it to your client. That's just like that's how it works. When you're in a game studio, the art that you're making will be passed down to other people. So you have to be a bit extra considerate with who might be looking at your art. So like in this very specific case, like if Siguro, like if Nika just wanted to finish this artwork and not have to think about anything afterwards, as long as the client's happy, just makes the artwork, that's done. But let's say this has to be given for the 3D artist, things need to make sense for us. So I guess that's the main difference. Yeah, it's so that your art is gonna be communicated to different departments.
I see.
I think that's the big, fundamentally that's the big one for me.
There's a lot of things happening at the same time. Wow. Ruben, the next question
Yeah.
is
I'll answer the question. So, and then the question is, this is for Nika, but then si Kevin, he cannot handle it. How do you come up with your character designs? I always wanted to draw my OC, but I start blanking out when it comes to outfit. I have the general idea of what I want to look, what I want it to look like, but struggle with adding details.
Okay, the key answer to that is look for references. It will help you visualize, make your imagination clear. So the moment you look at different options, you'll eventually come up with your own version. So yeah, that's what I say.
For me, kaya, when it comes to clothing for your character, like giving his or her a fashion or clothing, it should be like connected to his personality. Like for example, if the character is a soldier, so basically she or he should wear some black or green or como. So if a character is a joyful one, so you have to put some color like that sparks joy. Basically, it's just a color theory. So if you could put pink or yellow, something that sparks joy to a personality. So that's mostly how I can think or creating my characters.
Oh, out of curiosity, but like this is coming from a noob as hell guy with art and stuff. I can't even draw hands. Dude, I hear the word color theory getting thrown around a shit ton. So like, what the hell is that? Can someone break it down for me? I know like it's ironic. I make graphics, so like, but like, what exactly is it there? Like in layman's terms, I guess.
Basically like wala siya kanang like each color can represent of emotions. Ano siya. So in most times kang like magana sa color theory for kang like color combinations like kang red, yellow, yung sa combination or green and purple. Kasi nga like kang basically ang point sa color theory for me kay mo siya kang like maka kanang color harmony or something like that. That is just my basic understanding though.
Okay, that's interesting.
I guess I'll add into that. Wait lang, I'll add into that, Ruben, like in layman terms. Think of color theory as like it's a spectrum of like good and bad. Okay, if you know your color theory, then it's like, gonna be on the bad part. If you don't know your color theory, it's gonna be on the bad part of the spectrum. How do I fix my colors? You consult the color chart, and it might improve it. Okay, so it's basically like it's like a guideline. Like it doesn't fix your problem, but it will help you identify your problem. So let's say when you make a poster, and then you're like using whatever colors because you just feel like it, and then but for some reason it looks off. You don't know why, or at least other people see it and they're like it doesn't feel as good. Usually to fix it, you consult the color wheel and understand color theory. If that makes sense. That's how I understand it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm sorry if I triggered anyone. But yeah, anyway.
I just want the answer it said.
But yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Then I remember like hearing that term during art class when I was like in grade 7. And then now, like, I'm a marketing guy. I hear that shit that's thrown around, and I just nod. And I usually base off what I make as long as it looks good, then okay. But that would be pretty useful. Okay, okay, sige. Ashes
I
has
think
another
Ruben,
question. When it comes to
let me.
starting art, what would you choose? Or how did you...
Ay, wait, sa what?
Let me say basically.
No, wait,
See,
wait.
God.
I could.
No, 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 okay na.
That was
Yes, yes. Oh no, no, I was just gonna say. Shit, I forgot. I was. You know what? No, let's move on to the next question. I spaced out. Just like I don't know what I was gonna say.
Oh yeah, I remember we had a color theory post, a couple of color theory posters back sa Retriten, no? There were like 4 of them.
Did we?
Yeah, we did.
Color theory posters?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. Yeah, it was on the wall. Like
Was
they
that
just wanted to put that.
super helpful.
The next question.
So, next question, Ruben.
When it comes to starting art, what would you choose? Or how did you start first? Style, aka copying someone else's style, or making your own? Or fundamentals?
Mm.
To trigger
As for me,
Okay, I'll
I
answer this.
started- I-
Oh wait. Okay, so you go Nick. Ikaw, you can
Okay,
give
okay.
your take on it.
The moment I start drawing, usually pan siya, personal works did siya, and wala ko kay idea about like fundamentals and anatomy or stuff, so I just draw whatever I like. But years pass and na-expose ako to digital art. And I saw many artists doing their thing, and that's the moment where I learned na dapat day na i-follow how to make your stuff look good, better. So that's when the fundamentals came. That's my process.
So to add to Nikas, if you want to ask me, if you want to start out, don't even think so much about it. You know, just draw what you want to do. You know, it's not like you're gonna devote your career to this, right? Or anything yung anak para. You just want somewhere to start. Just do what you wanna do. You wanna follow other people, go ahead. You wanna like draw cute, I don't know, like Pokemon or whatever, go ahead. Like, like don't there's
Let's
no
do it.
go on, but just do what you feel like doing, I guess, at the start. It's important to have fun with it, especially when you're starting out.
Have fun now, struggle later.
Yeah. Because if you struggle first, you won't enjoy it and you'll probably give up like on. So that's why you have fun first, you overcommit to it because you think it's gonna be fun for the rest of your life. When you're in there struggling, you're like, oh, it's too late to come back. It's too late now. So you have no choice but to commit to it.
Mhm.
Is there anything next? Hopefully that answers the stuff. Is there a next question?
Well, the thing, like, well, so a lot of people I know a lot of people who start out by by copying art styles of an artist. Is that useful? Like, by doing that, and at what point did you guys realize that, hey, like, this is something I can do as an actual career? Like, from example, like, from starting off just copying your favorite cartoons in a piece of paper to, like, at what point did you realize, like, okay, this is actually something I could make money from?
Uh, I can answer if no one else wants to answer.
Of course, yeah.
Okay. Okay, I guess I'll just answer. Um, at what point did I? Actually, to be honest, like for me, it kind of just came. I don't know. Uh, like the money part of it, it kind of just like naturally occurred. Um, I used to be I have very different background side from everyone, and time like it was a bit like things were like kind of like different. Siguro said I don't know how different things were 5-10 years ago or whatever. Um, I seem so old, but um, siguro like back then I really was so paranoid about like, oh, will someone be paying for my work, you know? And that's I think a lot of artists have that yun. There's this side of them that's very like I don't know if it's the right word is scared, but it's like, is my art worth their money? Is my art worth 3,000 pesos? Is my art worth 30,000 pesos? Is my art worth 50,000 pesos? And I think when I was younger, I was so like paranoid about that, to the point that like when I would be paid for my art, I feel like I owe them something, right? I was there, and I think like eventually, again, it was all natural. Like opportunities just came. Right? I applied for jobs. I got the jobs. I opened up for freelance. I got the freelance works, and Murag, you just kind of learn that like, hey, there are people willing to pay for this, and Murag, I guess it's up to the artist said, right, how competitive or how keen they want to be. Because they're very different. There's some that just want to do this as a side. There's some that want to do this like full time. Um, but I guess this is where is this related to the last question, right? About like one, if you just want to draw for fun on the side, you don't need to think so much about anything really. Just do what you want to do. But I guess if you want to be you want to like apply for studios or work as a freelancer, I guess that's the part where you kind of like have to start learning your fundamentals. Na. That's where I guess that's where you have to say, okay, like I need to learn anatomy so my characters will look better. That's where you decide. But just remember, siguro, and I always give this same advice, pabalik-balik said to like the art team namo. It's very important to separate you as a professional artist, where you're creating a product or something for someone or for some company. That's like one mindset to like settle yourself on, and you can excel at that. Like every time I get a new project, I'm like, okay, this is gonna be like a 2D RPG shooter, whatever. I want to make this a really good-looking 2D RPG shooter. That's like one mindset. It's for the product, right? And you can be really good at that. And then there's also the side that I always, ground myself that like, hey, I like fantasy art with like paladins and like blonde girls wearing pink mini skirts. And I always keep that my personal mindset that like I do for myself. So I have to separate that. A lot of time to mentally compartmentalize those two mindsets. Um, but I think I've gotten to the point where like I've accepted it and actually enjoy it more, because it makes me do better at my job. But I also know that it keeps me sane, like for my work. So yeah, that's my take on it. I don't want to over talk about it, but yeah.
Well, circling back to our our last conversation in the last week. circling back to our last conversation in our last stream with you, um, uh, this has always been an ongoing issue, and like for some reason, like every after I graduated, like I get a lot of questions about how about kind of like it's the diploma thing again, and what you're talking about kind of correlates to it. So like I know a lot of comic book artists who dropped out of their of school just to pursue art, and they're successful at it. How like like you, Clint, like just based off your personal experience, how much of your own education and your own course has helped you in terms of your success in being an artist? And what course did you even take?
Okay, so this is specific to me. So I took uh fine arts in digital arts and animation, and I will just say it right off of the bat. Like it was a pretty like it was a good school. Okay, like I had good teachers, I had very good teachers. And the education system was, I'd say it was pretty. They had very high standards. In fact, I was struggling. Yeah, I was a very kaput student at my school. Like I was like the guy who, if the passing was 70, I'll be like 73, 74. I'll be the guy that like gets their stuff approved like 2 minutes before the deadline, and it's probably even 50 approved. I was a very bad student because I was a very struggling student, and I was like partially irresponsible. But I was like, I was 18, so whatever. So um, okay, so yeah. So the question, how much did my education put into that? Okay, I don't know, pero sa ako aran eh, regardless if I went to that really, really good school or not, I think I would have still like really, really worked to like do good. Like I always put myself mentally, yes, I was fortunate enough to go into a decent school, but I never want to put all the credit to that school. Because again, I was a bad student, and after I graduated, my work was still a work in progress. You know, if you look at the work I made when I graduated, like, yeah, they were good, but even I look at like, you know, Nika's stuff and Kevin's stuff, their duty stuff, and a lot of them like oh shit, like I took like a while to like get there. Um, right? So I guess that's yeah. So in context, how much I credit? I do credit it. I think it made me faster. It made me like the reason why I can talk with like I can mentor them is because of the school. Because I learned the words used and the fundamentals used. Like this is what it means, this is what that means. So I think that's the advantage of being quote unquote a trained quote unquote trained artist. I hate how they segregate, like they separate a trained and like self-taught. But I guess I'm on that category of trained because I did go to school for it. It just helps me teach things faster and communicate things faster. Well, but I would still say that even if I was meant to be self-taught, I don't think I will Like I don't think it would be any different. Like I always put myself in mind that yeah. Um yeah. You know what? Okay, and I'll give this advice instead to whoever's like asking, right? At the end of the day, I know like you know when you apply for that specific job or whatever, they'll always look at your portfolio first. Even even if your background is this that, if your portfolio is not that good, you won't get hired, right? Or they won't even bother to interview you. So the portfolio that we're working on right now, right? I'm really gearing it to like a higher technical standard and everything like that. So like I guess that's sa whole mindset na like if you want to start on it as like a professional thing, I guess it's really just your portfolio will be it'll be your portfolio is your face. Um, it's not really like where you kind of came from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super important for the studio because we can't show code, right? We have to show things that can be shown. That's why this is something that's really important to be invested on for the studio.
Yeah. So most of the
When do we
guys,
plan on finishing this?
this will all conclude by middle of March to late April. And all the assets here will be done. So this is just a first pass of our presentation, right? This is like just so that we have something for the stream today. And we'll be finished with the asset now. But probably when we come back to this all the way later, April, we're gonna re-render everything. We're gonna make sure everything looks good. But yeah, probably middle April to March. Sorry, April. Everything will conclude middle March date.
Really
So that's why, guys, I'm kind of nervous for all of these because there's a lot. There's a lot.
There's a lot. And the 2D
Yeah.
part's just gonna grow more and more.
Yeah.
He's gonna have
Actually,
to
for the
catch up.
2D. Okay, so for on Nika's case, the 2D, a lot of the problem solving is solved. So actually, the next part is like, it's just like, you're just gonna render your characters. Like, kanina lang. After anime, you're just gonna be like, oh, just take this character and like make them look good for the studio. And then have your logo, like quote unquote game logo, like whatever you call it, like yeah. And then it will all be presentable. And you guys should have something to show clients in case that's the direction you guys want to go. Or if you guys want to go indie, right? At least your technical standards are higher,
Yep,
and you guys can
exactly.
like learn to like flatten things out.
Yeah.
And simplify. You want to simplify things, sure. You have a client that needs higher technical standards. At least you have a portfolio for it.
Definitely goes both ways.
Is that
Client and for our in-house projects in
Mhm.
the future. But right now we're stuck with a cute angel that we're gonna be developing more and more and making videos about it. So yeah, by the way, like since we're at the topic of art, if since we're doing Haphazard Angel right then, how would you change if you would change the art style of Haphazard Angel? Or yeah, Clint, what do you currently think about the styles of Haphazard Angel? How could it be better, etc.?
I
Do you
haven't
answer that?
thought of changing because I was pretty busy with portfolio stuff.
I mean, from the tip of your tongue, you're like, karang brain fart right now.
Would it be like closer to pixel art, like Flappy Bird kind of style?
Sa ko din, if you want my opinion / thoughts on it, I guess the wisest one would be to make it one, cost efficient, meaning if your dev time is 6 months, everything can be made within six months.
Mm.
And then the second is that's the most important thing. All the assets, based on whatever the game design is, all the assets can be finished within that time period.
Mm.
Actually, if, for something like Haphazard Angel, you don't need to have something like this. This is not. You
Yeah.
don't need anything like this for Haphazard Angel. Yeah. So something cost efficient and something. You still need to have your fundamentals down, right? If this is your main character, this is the main focal point. You have to. This needs to stand out. If this is a background thing, this needs to not stand out. So going that will be like how I would, I would sit down, take a look at the existing ones, break down. Okay, how are the values? How are the colors? Are the colors okay? That's my workflow. That would be my workflow on it. If we were to like revise all the art things.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we might. And to everyone
Yeah.
watching the stream, look out for our upcoming devlog, which will be released next week, hopefully. Ruben?
Yes. Next week we got this, dude. We got this. Well, honestly,
We got this.
we were planning on releasing it this week.
No, last week.
Well, yeah, last
But-
week, but then we were like, okay, this is longer than we expected.
I mean, because we're kind of inexperienced with making videos, right? And then we we really overscope how much time a video takes to make. So here we are, 3 weeks late. It's fine. We'll definitely have it by next week. And it's gonna be
Yeah, we're almost done anyways. We've already recorded all our parts. It's gonna be awesome. And kinda a lot of it is really chaotic, I think.
Are we gonna do a
Yes.
TikTok? Like game devs dance to Blackpink or something?
What are you?
You're gonna have the
Game devs
cool
dance.
shit.
Like, oh my god, they're so cringe. Capriccioso so cringe.
No, we
What I'm
don't
trying
dance.
to, like,
We crunch.
Go,
Crunch.
Bosperas.
Go Bosporas. No cringe, only crunch.
crunch time.
No cringe. only crunch.
Crunch time simulator. Kevin, welcome to Crunch Time Simulator.
Yay.
But like, sa TikTok, well, like, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out though. Like, I really don't get this algorithm with how like for some reason, ever since we started following a crap ton of other indie game devs, like, kinda like mas easier makita atong content. Like, I guess it correlates to the niche that we're following.
Mhm.
But I still kind of don't get it. Like, example, dude, like, our highest view count is the Charas video, but then view count dako kayo, but there's only like, there's 0 comments.
Yeah.
There's 0 comments, so there's like about almost 5,000 views, and then wala yung comments. So you're telling me like those 5,000 views, no one commented or anything. So how does it work?
Yeah, I guess they were interested in Charas, not the Capriccioso part. It's fine, and yeah, we kind of need to think on how to like leverage our content without, like for example, this stream we have, we're gonna be clipping it and spamming it on TikTok, because TikTok is kind of like a lottery ticket. There's a very tiny chance that the algorithm picks you up even if your content is not so good. But, there's a basic standard nila. But it's more of I would say it's more of a numbers game dito sa TikTok. Until the
So
algorithm
just keep
picks you up.
posting.
Yeah, but you have to have like a standard of quality, right? Not just post trash. May question si Aljon Ruben. How to make progress after being at a stagnant point in art?
I'll give my advice on this. You're free to disagree or not. You only stagnate if you're doing the same. If you've been doing the same thing over and over again. You only stagnate if you do something that you've already done and are just repeating it. You stagnate through there. Um, if you want to not stagnate, you have to do something you're not used to doing. So, uh, yeah, that's the basic gist of it. To be more specific of it, if you're a character artist, you only do character. Okay, you're only character artist. You only do fantasy. Okay, you only do fantasy. You only draw male characters. Okay, you only draw male characters, and they're usually in this very specific body type. You're kind of like then you stagnate there. So you kind of have to like back down a bit. Maybe you have to do females. Maybe you have to do sci-fi. Maybe you have to yeah, and then usually learning that. I think that's something that's why it's I guess for like sometimes in like when you're in the industry and you swap projects a lot, it's very very hard for you to stagnate. Can you imagine like being in this project for 6 to 12 months, and then in the next 6 to 12 months you're like learning a completely different project in a different like right now it's Substance Painter. 12 months from now it's like 3D code. After that it's Photoshop, right? Like it's yeah. So basically, yeah, that's my answer to like stagnating. It's hard to stagnate if the expectations are always different all the time.
The pressure is always different.
Yeah.
Kind of similar with the tech side. It's always changing. The mirror that we've developed in literally just last year, katong for the one of our projects, it's now deprecated and we have to use a different one. So we had to start. Ashley had to start from scratch with networking and do it all again. Yeah, it keeps changing.
Yeah.
So as long as you're up to date, you won't have you won't stagnate because you won't have the breathing room to stagnate.
Yeah. If you're stagnating, it's probably because you haven't explored a lot of things. And I'm also giving this because I have to give my own advice. I have
Advice to self. How do I unstagnate as a dev?
Whenever you ever get scared, like I'm talking about like I guess everyone here, because technically like, game dev is technically also a hobby, big hobby for majority of the Capriccioso team. Like, do any of you guys get scared of getting burnt, like being unhappy with your hobby because that's also your work?
This one, this is a very interesting one. Clint mentioned this earlier about separating your your client, what do you call that? Your professional self from your personal art self. That might not be. That might be a bit difficult if you're working on an indie studio because usually it's the. Oh, sorry, TJ, but because it's it's also a passion project, right? So yeah.
it's personal and
I lost
professional.
my train of thought. My God. What was that, Clint? Because I lost my train of thought.
When you're indie, it's like there's a bit of like your personal, like it when you're doing it for a client, you're like, okay, they need this. You just need to make it look good. Whatever they need, give it to them. If it's indie, it needs a bit of your heart in it, which requires emotional investment, which can turn to burnout, right? And not the good kind of burnout, the bad kind of burnout, the kind of burnout that I cared so much and I got not.
Yeah.
It can get, yeah. So yeah,
also
and
the other
then
kind of
speaking from
burnout.
experience,
Yeah. The other kind of burnout where you work yourself to death. The advice is just to touch grass, exercise. The thing that
Or
I keep
sleep.
repeating
But then-
sa fitness is my passion is the one that the president of Boom Bazap said back in PGDX, wherein he said being game dev doesn't mean shit if you feel like shit every day. So go exercise, touch grass, do something else other than game development.
yeah.
As game devs, but like, do you guys ever look at games differently now that you know how a lot of
Yes.
the back end stuff works?
Holy crap!
Definitely.
that's a can of worms. Um, Instead of I like back when I was back when we were a kid, like for example, the first time you played Minecraft, right? You are looking at the world with uh, what's a good term? Wonder or awe or something like that. But once
Oh,
you
in wonder.
yeah, you understand the underlying mechanics of everything that's going around in that world, you basically become technical. You look at it at the technical side, you might enjoy doing that, but a lot of the time it takes away from the experience that the game developers are trying to give to the players to that game. So yeah, if you're a game developer and you're still trying to enjoy a game, try not to think about game development. I think that's kind of the same with 3D art, right? The when you start learning 3D art, you see that this metal thing has a metallic thing or like a fong. This mirror is kind of a fong. Whatever, I'm not sure what I'm talking about, but you're seeing things more technically and in the perspective of whatever tool you're using. Yeah, kind of ruins it.
Mm.
Also, kind of doesn't.
Yes, it's both a curse and a blessing. Like back then when I played Metroidvania games, like wandering places, and then like when I know how to do it, it's really kind of different. Because like when you know the how to make the stuffs, you tend to like, even though it's it becomes part of you. Like when you go to some, like in the game itself, you tend to break down things like, oh nice, this one he does it this way, and like that, instead of just plainly enjoying. Even when I play horror games, uh, I'm not. It's different than before because like, oh nice, I appreciated it differently, unlike before. Like when I saw the for example the ghost from Evil Within, and when I saw that at first I was afraid, and then when I became a game developer, I said, "Wow, nice 3D art you got there."